Welcome to Shaw Crafts. On today's episode, we will be taking a look at another terrain build that I did for my campaign. So I hope you enjoy.
I started with a standard 4x8 piece of insulation foam that I cut down to size, and then I drew a grid and textured it and did the layout of the basic layout of where everything was going to go. I then started cutting out some of the larger sections with a hot wire tool um, to make the different structures. Once I got all the basic structures cut out of the foam, I laid them out to make sure everything fit on the table and that the spacings looked for the most part correct. I then started using an alpha knife to start cutting into the foam to make finer details into the rock faces uh, of the structures. At this point, I started gathering all the tools that I would be using, including a hot glue gun, a soldering iron, um, and some tea-light candles for the next section, which is a dais that would have glowing runes in it. Here you can see that I took a network cable and stripped it down so that I could use the pairs to solder into the tea light candles. Here I'm stripping the wires. I remove the top from a tea light candle, open it up, um, take out the switch, and then I take one lead of the LED and I made a loop in it, and then a loop in uh, the wire to hook it around, and eventually I'll solder them together. Uh, I took the other set or the other piece of wire and stuck it against the battery to finish the circuit. Then I tested it just to make sure that it would light up before I soldered it. I cut a small section out of the tea light top for the wire to pass through. I then finally soldered the wire to the LED to finish it off and then close it up. After I get all 6 of them made up, I glue them into place into the piece, securing the wire in the channels that I made with hot glue. And here you can see the final where I'm testing the lights out before I finish gluing them down. I then cut a hole into the top of it. I picked up a toy portal from a local thrift store. You can see it here that I ran the USB cable through I had to make a cut so that I could bring the wire down through it. After doing that, then I used acetone on where the lava flows would be on the mat to make a pattern into the ground. And then I started doing the base coat in black on everything. I then came back and did a sponge coat in a dark gray with a lighter sponge coat in a light gray, along with a dry brush on the terrain itself. After that, I made a cut into the base for all the wiring to go through, and then cut a channel into the bottom to run the wiring out. Here is all the T-candles in place. I then took an old CD case and cut up the clear plastic part of it and made tops to overlay over the T-candles and painted them colors. Then made the runes, and here's the final. I then made a wooden part to attach the switches to. Here are the switches all soldered up and then put into place to temporarily light the T-candles one at a time. I then made a similar set to go as a back wall, doing the same thing, soldering onto the T-candles, again using old network cables for the wiring. If you're interested on how I actually did that, then let me know in the comments and I'll go into more detail. Unfortunately, with the virus going around, paint has become an issue to get, so I wasn't able to get the same color, so had to make do, and so it doesn't look quite as nice as I'd hoped. Here I'm painting the lava flow, first in yellow, then orange with a touch of red. Then I made a set of stairs out of ready board and put them in place. And then I made a door. I based it on one of Blackmagic Crafts tutorials. So if you're interested, I can link that into, give you that link to his site. And here is the final final build, all finished up. If you're interested in details on my campaign itself, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to give more information after my players actually go through the campaign, but I don't want to give anything away at this time.
Well, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed what you saw. I also want to thank everyone that has subscribed to my channel. It means a lot to me. And if you haven't, I hope that you will. I know that these big terrains take up a lot of time. So it's mostly been photographs. So I'm going to start trying to do some smaller quick terrain builds that'll be more video oriented and hopefully be able to produce them quicker than the amount of time that it takes to build these large terrains. But I've also been working on a very big surprise for my group, which I hope to be introducing to them very soon, which is another very large project. So hopefully you'll stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Thanks and have a good day.